It's a bull. Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals for our Tuesday update here on gold, silver, and I guess we'll talk about platinum too, and other stuff. Got some things we're going to talk about. A few, not too much in the news today. Metals are kind of sideways, but no less interesting day. Always is. Every day is an interesting day above ground, I believe. And let's move along to spot prices here. Now, I didn't update this here for a few minutes. What time is it now? Oh my gosh, over an hour since we updated. But look, gold was down an hour ago, silver was down an hour ago, and I haven't refreshed. I don't even know what it is right now. I'm going to presume gold's up a little bit, maybe silver's up. I'm going to be an optimist today because look, our platinum is up. So let's do a refresh, and I'm about clueless as you. Well, you probably know already because you're seeing the show later. But let's take a look here and do a quick refresh. Forgive me too. I had to use a whole new browser. I've been having issues with the memory suck up, and turns out it was my Safari browser, man, was using up half my memory for some reason. And refresh. Well, so much for my guess. Looks like everything across the board has red right now. Minus 12, minus 14 cents. Not a big deal. Again, it's kind of where we were earlier. But look at this range on silver, about 50 cents. We're back into those 50, 75-cent swings again, which is healthy, completely healthy. Not healthy for people that are new into buying gold and silver that watch it obsessively every day. And by the way, folks, if this is about wealth preservation, you don't have to watch metals prices on a daily basis. Put it away and know you'll do well. Relax. Don't get all panicky. Ranges last night in gold, well, not too, pretty good range there too. Look, 17. Let's blow that up a little bit. 1729, so basically 1730 in that 1750 range. We're sitting right in between at the moment. Silver 2214 to 2269, and I'm going to go over that in a couple minutes. We're going to look at overnight markets and try to see where these markets get monkey hammered at. What time of the evening? Maybe the source. Well, I don't think we have enough time to go into who the monkey hammer is caused by. Or is it natural market forces? Isn't that a strange word? You don't hear that very often because not much is natural out there. But 1730 to 1750, 2214 to 2270, we're sitting right in that range. Silver seemed to be holding on to this mid-20 level for some time. Platinum down a couple bucks. It's $1,000 high. But, platinum and palladium being industrial metals, particularly in the car industry, it makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is I thought these car companies were up and running. If that's the case, they should. There's just some weird stuff going on out there. Shortages that really, when there shouldn't be shortages. Shortages of truck drivers supposedly in the UK when it comes to delivering oil and gas. I mean, it almost is like this stuff is being pre-planned. But again, I'm getting a bit conspiratorial here and ahead of myself. So platinum 970 to 990, about $20 range. Boy, that's cheap, 970. And 1900 and 1971 on palladium as well. We don't talk much about palladium because we sell so little of it. I mean, why talk about something that you sell so little of? I'm sure somewhere out there's a guy that does palladium shows, and he's got a great audience because he's probably the only guy that talks about it. So, not real. I'm sure there's a lot of people that add palladium into their discussions here, but we really don't too much. Let's move along to something else here. Sip of coffee while I'm doing that. And I wanted to look and see where the monkey hammering. Now, this is the 24-hour spot prices right here. And obviously, this was September 26th right here. This was the Sunday night, more or less, when the markets open on Sunday. And you can see on Sunday night, markets are opening up over there, but 1760 range right there. And then reopening on Monday. Here's Monday right here. And what's that? New York right there. New York closed 1749. But Monday, and take a look at this. Hong Kong markets right here on Monday. Everything's kind of up. And then late in the evening, before London, let's see, there's London opening up right there. And you get this fall right here. And what else do we got going on here? So let's take a look at today, September. What is this? This is gold bit, all right. Looks like it's happened in London markets is where gold got hit the hardest. Look at that sub 1730 right there. And then back up London or New York. The markets seem to coincide right here. And this was September 28th. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's today. What time is it? It's almost noon time here. So it looks like London and New York is where this market right here has got monkey hammered somewhere in between. This doesn't tell me exactly where either. what are they using here? New York spot price. I guess I better look at this a little carefully. However, again, gold got monkey hammered this morning here at around, what is it, about 9 o'clock or something like that, I'm presuming. That's 8 a.m. right now. Oh, that's New York time. Okay, that's GM time. So that's 8 a.m. New York time. So our time, basically around 9 p.m. is where the metals got smacked. But on the other hand, too, it looks like they were starting to get smacked on after the close on Monday as well. So, big deal. Good opportunity to buy the dips. I just kind of wanted to show you what time and when they're getting smacked down. And same thing with silver as well here. Take a look at that. Looks like silver got smacked down here, well, basically on last night, after last night. There's yesterday's close in New York, and there's the opening right there in Hong Kong. And as you can see, in the Hong Kong market, silver kind of got whacked pretty hard. Now, I'm not sure which market that is in Hong Kong, or if it's the Globex market. This is a bullshit market down here, in my opinion. Whenever you see big trades done this is my understanding. Whenever you see big trades done in New York Globex in the middle of the night, those are your monkey hammering trades. However, I believe Hong Kong has probably a more honest and apparent price discovery, or some of the Asian markets over there. So if this is in Hong Kong, this is probably just a legit sell-off of some industrial metals or something like that, with people presuming that industry might get a little bit quieter in China. Which, again, that's kind of hard to believe since the world's in big demand, or looking for demand on cars and all kinds of things. Where else is this monkey hammering occurring? And this is today. Green line is today. Take a look at Hong Kong markets overnight. A little choppy trading action during Hong Kong markets. You can see London opened up here, and where is London? London opened up here, and then a little choppy action right there. And here's your New York market, where it kind of seems to really either got hammered in New York or before the close in London. Again, I'm not sure which one they're using here, the green line. This is a combination of New York and London, and they're all, well, anyways. Let's move along from here and get into kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit, just in brief. I like this quote: "Gold is the money of kings, silver is the money of gentlemen, barter is the money of peasants, but debt is the money of slaves." And this is very, very true. Debt, however, if you're using debt to buy things you don't need, then you are a slave. But if you're using debt to make money, then you're not a slave. You're actually taking advantage of the system. So, I got a little story to tell about that one time too. Is the old school thought in the old days was pay off your home in full. And I had a business partner at one time who I respected an awful lot, who had properties all over the country, and he was probably in his 60s or something like this at the time, and this goes back a little ways, and interest rates were pretty low at the time as well. He had a line of credit with a certain bank that was pretty high, but they charged him a large. It was a personal line of credit with I don't think it was collateralized or anything, but the interest rate, and I'm not going to quote an interest rate because I don't remember specifically, but was quite high at the time. Now this gentleman had always avoided debt, always built up cash positions, avoided debt whenever possible. However, a friend of his one day said, "Hey man, you've got all these properties that are paid for," and that's the old school mentality: is pay for your property. Your grandparents, your parents, a lot of people pay for that property in full. There's our money, there's our asset, and then leave it alone. That's kind of a fear, you know what I mean? People fear of losing their homes or whatever. However, if you're going to borrow against your home, or you're going to borrow money just to go out and buy a new car, or buy this or buy that, you're a slave of debt. However, you can make debt work for you, and I'll show you how my friend did. He went and he had a line of credit for his business that was pretty high, and a friend of his convinced him to mortgage the, because you could get a really low interest rate using his homes as collateral, because he had a couple of homes. He had homes in California, he had homes in New York, and he had homes down here in Florida. And his friend convinced him, "These are all paid off, man. Why don't you borrow against them? You'll get a much lower interest rate." And I don't want to say the interest rate was about half of what his personal loan rate was, but it was probably darn close. He saved himself a ton of money borrowing against the house to run his business. And the money that he was making in his business was far more than the interest rate he was paying on borrowing against his house. So with that said, yeah, debt is the money of slaves, except when you know how to use debt properly, and that's called what is it? OPM, other people's money, using other people's money to make money. So if you have an opportunity to borrow and make money, and when I say make money, I'm the kind of guy that wants to, put my money in my business because I know what kind of returns I get from my business, even in the worst times. It's pretty steady. It's somewhat secure. And again, there's nothing 100% secure and foolproof. No businesses. I mean, anything can happen to any business at any given time or a person that runs it. But no less, I know what kind of returns I get in my money. And my friend knew what kind of returns he got in his money. And the amount of money he was making far surpassed the interest he was paying that he borrowed on his home. So again, he didn't need to borrow. He had plenty of, he had a line of credit. But there's an example where you can use OPM, other people's money, to make money. And really, if you think about it, who better to use than other banks to make more money and give them back their money and just create more money for yourself? However, I do agree again. If you're using debt just to buy things you really don't need, then you are kind of a slave to debt. And and that's not what banks do. Banks don't. Well, I guess banks get heavily in debt as well. I like this saying too as well. I saw this the other day. You know me, I like quotes and stuff. And it says, preachers say, do as I say, not as I do. But if a physician had the same disease upon him that I have, and he should bid me do one thing and he do quite another, could I believe him? And that's apparently where this old saying, John Selden apparently said this. Again, I haven't fact checked just to see if this indeed is a quote, but it is attributed to him. And that quote is, do as I say, not as I do. And why do I bring that up? Because central banks, and I brought, how many times I've talked about this. However, I can't talk about it enough. People get discouraged with the price of gold and the price of silver. And I'm going to primarily talk about the price of gold because gold will bring up the price of silver. And as I said, this quote is spot on. Where'd that quote go I just had? This quote right here, gold is the money of kings. So, and and what do the kings own? What do the central bankers own? What do the man behind the curtain? The guy Oz. What does he own? He doesn't own. In his central banks don't have cryptocurrencies in their vaults. They don't have. They may have titles to property, but they don't have cryptocurrencies. They don't keep diamonds. They don't keep Bitcoin. They don't keep. What else am I going to say? Basically any other type of assets. What do they hold in their vaults? And again, they tell you to go out and invest in stock markets. They tell you to go out and invest in these riskier assets and keep borrowing money from them. And they encourage you to go out. They don't encourage you to buy gold, but which is really weird. And I'll tell you why it's weird, because do as I say, not as I do. Look at this chart right here. Look at how much gold central bankers own. And again, why would they push people into they own this stuff? What do they own this? Why do they own it? Because it's real money, folks. They know it. They just don't want us to know it. They want to own all the gold they can. They want to make sure that we own all the fiat that they create to get the gold and get the assets and get your property. Because remember, when you're mortgaged, guess who owns your property? You don't anymore. The bank does. And in essence, nowadays, central bankers do because they're funding everything pretty much. They're keeping the system afloat. Who do you think owns a lot of those toxic mortgages? I believe the central banks do to some degree. They're taking on the debt. That's what QE is all about. Meanwhile, they'll lay it off on other people, and what do they keep putting in their vaults? Gold. North American, 8,230. Now, I don't know how accurate this website is, but North American, 8,233 tons of gold combined between the United States and Canada. Boy, Canada's pretty dismal in its gold ownership. Western Europe, look at all these different, I'm going to blow that up a little bit. Look at all the different central banks in Western Europe. Look at this, 3,000 tons in Europe, and Germany, Italy. What do they own in their vaults, folks? They own gold. That surprises me, Norway owning nothing, but and that I find hard to believe. Take a look at total reserves, gold reserves in tons. This is China. China claims that they have, 1,900 tons? I don't believe that. I think they have far more. China has not been opaque in their gold holdings. One of the countries that's been stockpiling gold for years and years and years. And they know it. They know the gold is money. Look at the Russians down here with two gold reserves, 2.292 thousand tons. So, interesting. Gold reserves in millions. Oh, okay. They also put it in millions and holdings and percent-wise. Who's holding 21% of their money in gold? That's kind of interesting. The Russian Federation. And trust me, those Russians aren't stupid, especially their bankers. They're pretty smart folks. They managed to skirt by all the what is it, the regulations put against them by Western countries, and they're still kind of doing well overall. But they do have large gold holdings, and that's why, folks, why do these central bankers have large amounts of gold? Because it's real money. And again, we don't get discouraged by holding something that the most elite people that, what do we point out here again? What is that quote? What are they holding on to? The gold is money of kings, and don't forget about that. The kings hold this. Kings hold the money. The people that create the, central banks hold the money. The elite, the financial elite, own large amounts of gold as well. But meanwhile, I don't know how corporate news entities, so-called economic entities, don't recommend gold, especially when they look at actually who really owns it. How could you look someone in the eye and say, well, gold's a terrible investment, you shouldn't own gold, while living in a country whose central bankers, who are probably the smartest people out there economically, and believe me, they're not dumb. They're a couple moves ahead of everyone else in this scheme. People like to, say, oh, they're not smart people, but they are really, really smart people. And what do these really, really smart elite people own in their vaults? What do these central banks own? Gold, 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 gold. So don't ever get discouraged about that, folks. Just want to kind of bring that up here. And silver as well, because silver will follow gold, and silver is kind of like the money of gentlemen. I like that term. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look at some news out here, and not a lot to talk about in precious metals here. Ron Paul exposes the Federal Reserve's biggest scandal, and you would think that scandal is what they're talking about because these guys are resigning, that they're doing inside trading. Now, come on. Who didn't think that these guys haven't been doing this for years and years? Just one of the dummies or a couple of the dummies got caught recently, But Ron Paul really talks about is how, look, this particular thing right here was just a convenient excuse for the Fed to do more of what it is already doing. Now the Fed is using the limited reopening as a scapegoat for rising prices. I believe this 100%, the limited reopening as a scapegoat for rising prices. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with a failing fiat. And printing more and more and more, increasing the money supply just to the nth degree, not being fiscally responsible, all that stuff. And again, this is not the Fed's fault. This is government's fault. The Fed is just trying to profit from all this, and they will somehow profit. They're going to walk away with a pretty penny and all the gold in the world in their own vaults. Of course, and as Ron Paul says here, of course, anyone who understands Austrian economics understands that rising prices are a symptom, not a cause of inflation. Now, I'm going to repeat that one more time. Rising prices are a symptom, not a cause of inflation. Very important to remember that. Inflation is the very act of money creation by the Fed. And again, they're going to try to spin this as supply shortages, blah, blah, blah. Anybody but their fault. These people are smart folks. They really are. They're smart enough to get corporate media to believe their bullshit and spout it all the time like it's gospel. Let's move along here. Rising prices that diminish and this is what we got going on. Rising prices that diminish the average American standard of living are not only a result of the Fed's manipulation of the money supply. The manipulation distorts economic signals, producing results including booms, bubbles, and busts. And this is what we got going on right now. Ron Paul points this out clearly. So does the gentleman that writes those articles, Charles Hugh Smith, termed the coin, I'm not sure if he invented it, but the G-boat, greatest bubble of all time. That's what we're living in right now. We're living in a historical time, folks. We're living in the greatest asset bubble of all time, the greatest potential economic collapse of all time. That's what we're living in right now. However, we do have the Fed trying to prevent that from happening, and if it does happen, they're going to lay the blame off on someone else, and they'll find a way, to escape with all their gold that they hold in their central banks there. But again, they might be talking about people talk about this reset. I'm kind of thinking that this reset really is just a way to go into a digital Fed coin or something like that, where now you get paid directly from the government, no privacy, nowhere to hide, nowhere, you can't stick your money anywhere, you can't spend it privately anymore. Why? Because they don't make dollar bills anymore. You'll just be running your little digital credit card with your PIN number. I hope it doesn't get to that. I hope I'm dead before that happens, to be honest with you. And I'm not looking to die soon, so that'll be a terrible time. People, we need to, kicking and screaming, we do not need to have a cashless society. Do not let this happen. In fact, I would encourage you all to go out and start spending more cash and using credit cards less and using the other things less. I know it's convenient. However, again, they're trying to push us into a cashless society, in my opinion. There are a lot of kind of interesting things here. Let's finish off what Ron Paul says here. Where is that? Bubbles and bust. Inflation has always benefited the well-connected elites who receive the Fed's newly created money before the money causes widespread price increases. So the elite, exactly. The Fed, the central bankers have already handed this money off to the elite, who have gotten vastly even richer off it. Again, this is crony capitalism. This isn't real capitalism. This is parasitic and predatory crony capitalism. These people aren't producers. The rich that are being parasitic off these low rates are not producers in any way, shape, or form. Okay? They're just being parasitic off a Fed that's giving them free money and parasitic off our future. So, people that defend, again, making money off other people's money, you can't really blame them for that, but it is a parasitic way of making money, in my opinion, because they're really not producing anything. They're taking this money, flopping it into these bubble markets. But I digress here. Let's read the rest of this. Inflation has always benefited the well-connected elites who receive the Fed's newly created money before the new money causes widespread increases. The true motivation behind Fed policy was revealed by former official Andrew Huszar in 2013. Huszar, writing for the Wall Street Journal, confirmed that quantitative easing kept stock prices high instead of helping Americans struggle with the after effects of the 2008 meltdown. Well, that whole 2008 meltdown, again, they bailed out their friends. They made the rich richer, and they made sure that our future as Americans as a whole would suck. So these people suck, folks. Other beneficiaries of the Fed are big spending politicians. There you go. The Federal Reserve's purchase of federal debt instruments keep the federal government's debt servicing costs manageable. This is why, despite Chairman Powell's recent suggestion that the Fed will soon begin tapering its purchases of treasuries, the Fed is unlikely to reduce its purchase of treasuries or allow interest rates to significantly increase. And we know this. Again, this is reason you're probably watching this show, is you know this in your gut. You may not know all the details, all the data points and everything. You may not have a PhD in economics, but you get it. This is why you're watching videos like mine. This is why I sell a lot of gold, because you people get what is happening out there. They're not out for our better. They're not out for us. And the jawboning we've talked about for the last year, the Fed jawboning has done anything. It's just kept the rates low where they are, and it's just really, it's jawboning. It's just bullshitting the American people, bullshitting the media. But I just think the media the media likes to be bullshitted because that's what they do themselves. I digress here. Powell is also unlikely to upset the current administration and their congressional allies, as long as the Marxists are urging Biden not to reappoint Powell. The Marxists want to replace Powell with someone more committed to fighting climate change and systematic racism. The two boogeymen routinely bought out as excuses for vast expansions in government spending and power. Another major scandal involving the Fed is Congress's refusal to pass the audit bill. Ron Paul has been working on that pass the audit bill for a long time. Accountability and allowing more transparency with the Fed. Audit the Fed has been Ron Paul's baby for 30 years, and it's never been passed through. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, that's a great idea," but it just doesn't get passed through. You know why? Because central bankers run the world. They tell politicians what to do, not the other way around, with the threat of taking their economies down. That's the problem when you have these people running the world. And again, don't assume central bankers are stupid. They're not. If they were stupid, then they wouldn't hold all that gold in their vaults. So, well, I'm going to move along from here. God, I wish Ron Paul had won the election back then. I really man, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. I think we'd be in a far superior situation if you ask me. Sound money to boot. Let's take a look at a couple articles here in Seeking Alpha. Not too much new. This was interesting. You can read this yourself. I believe it's Seeking Alpha allows you to read this stuff for free. I have a upgraded subscription to this. I pay a little bit more, but it's really cheap, folks. I like this site too, Seeking Alpha. And again, I'm not being paid by them, so this is not a paid endorsement. Gold maintained its status during the Evergrande sell-off, and this is very true. If anyone noticed, we've been sitting in the 1750, 1800 since this Evergrande thing, and Frank Holmes points this out pretty clearly. I think he makes a good case showing how gold did hold its own in that particular environment. Even Bitcoin got massively hammered. Well, don't forget, Bitcoin is going to be made illegal in Asia, and it's already illegal in other countries, and the United States is just going to heavily regulate it until it turns into a and it turns into like a money market fund of some sort that doesn't pay shit. That's what will eventually happen, or they'll make it illegal and they'll roll out their own digital creds. I hope it's long after I did. They come out and force everybody to know cashless society. Again, I hope it never happens. Actually, Peter Schiff talks about price analysis shows bearish indicators. We read that yesterday. Comics Countdown, will gold leave silver higher? A couple of interesting bullet points here. Again, you can read this yourself on Seeking Alpha. Just type in Comics Countdown, will gold leave silver higher? And you can read the rest of the article yourself. Peter goes into some graphs and some technical stuff that some of you guys like, so and would take us a little too much time. But let's go over the bullet points here, which I like. Seeking Alpha puts up these little summary points. Silver has nearly completed the major delivery month of September, below recent months at 5,377 contracts. So a little bit less, but that's not untypical for this time of year either. Less contracts than the months before. October as well. Currently, there are 294 contracts open, but this will be not enough to get above the July amount of 6,692. In recent weeks, silver has been leaving the comics vaults at a pretty fast pace. That's usually a good sign. And folks, if the product is a little tight out there, otherwise we wouldn't be seeing the premiums that we're seeing. Though the premiums have come down from where they were at one point. If October does make strong showing, it may indicate that people wanting physical gold are starting to ignore the Fed and are simply trying to accumulate as much physical as they can. I believe that. And essentially, the weakness that was showing up in gold a few months ago is now materializing in silver. Interesting pattern, if that is true, that Peter picked up here. This would imply that silver could rebound soon and close that ratio. Yeah, the ratio is out of whack. It's been in that 77 to 1 to range, where I think the average, 30-year average, has been about 65 to 1, kind of what I've been using, that 35-year average, because it's the most recent average we have. Decent article here. Again, would highly recommend you read it and take a look at some of the other articles on Seeking Alpha. All this reading stuff I'm sharing with you and the links that I like to read will make you a smarter bear and smarter than the average bear. GATA.org, nothing new here to talk about. They don't update every day. They do every other couple days. However, out of all these websites, if I was going to have anyone on my bookmark bar, this is the site you got to have on your bookmark bar. And for you folks that know me, I've talked about this 100 times. And again, I'm not sponsored by anybody here. The only sponsoring that I have is my own business. So I'm just sharing sites that I like and people I think that are really smart when it comes to these markets. Obviously, we all know that these guys quit right here. The two central bankers, I guess they just couldn't get rich enough off the backs of Americans running the central bank. These guys wanted to get richer by doing side trades on their own. Go figure. They'll probably both be dead some point soon. The secret bankers club. We'll have them whacked. No, I'm just kidding. New Orleans is back to normal. Okay, Ron Paul. We just read that article in ZH. Pam and Russ Martin's Dallas Fed president traded like a hedge fund. Doesn't surprise me. Again, I guess the other bankers are going to be a little pissed because this makes them look bad. So let's see what they do the other bankers do to spank the Dallas Fed president and the other guy there. Let's move along to Reddit. Interestingly, I I like this website. I kind of often scroll through it. It's been really quiet. They have 130,000 subscribers, yet there's only like 770 people in this at any given time here, what I've noticed lately. Maybe it kind of peaks up during the weekends, I'm not sure. However, this might be an indicator of sentiment, silver sentiment. I'm going to kind of use the in the jungle as silver sentiment. When I see this number go up substantially, I'll know that the sentiment is high across the board on a lot of physical buyers, particularly smaller buyers, not institutional buyers per se. So I'm saying right now, this could be. Does anyone have a graph of of the in the jungle? That would be kind of cool to look at the graph of in the jungle. I've been posting some of my videos out here too, and getting a few hits on them and stuff. And I'm getting a good return. You know, people seem to like it somewhat. Not all of them. Can't expect everyone to like what you say, and maybe some people just hate the sound of my voice too. You never know. I've met people like that. What's going on at Wall Street Silver? You know, I like to see guys adding to their stack. You know, the only thing that troubles me is just the price. You know, the premiums that some of these guys out on Wall Street Silver are paying for some of the stuff. Silver Eagles are just expensive, dude. Mr. GRT Dreed. I know they're pretty and everything like that, but you're never going to get that premium back, man. It's like you're paying at least $7.50, $8 over spot. That's what we charge, $7.50, $8 over spot here. I don't even like to sell them, to be honest with you. I tell customers there's better products to buy. Not better, but less expensive and better. Yeah, who cares what it looks like? As long as it's 1 ounce of silver and it's real. As far as the premiums go, people say, well, Brian, I'll get my premium back, you know, when I go back to sell it. You know, there's a higher buy price and a higher, you know, I know I'm paying more, but there's a higher. The reason you're paying more now and the reason you're getting a little bit more now, because it's a buyer's market. Now, if you sell into the silver market and it turns into a seller's market, not a buyer's market, all of a sudden everything is going to get discounted. And as a smart investor, I think, and not investor, but a smart person stacking silver, investor is a whole different mentality. As a smart person stacking silver, if you see gold and silver in bubble territory, you do want to sell it. You want to get out of some of it. Take some profit off the table. Maybe put a little bit into a legit stock that has some real fundamentals at the time, although no exist at the moment. But maybe when things blood in the streets, there might be something you can go over into. But meanwhile, you're going to lose your premium when you're selling into a bubble market. You're not going to get any premium back. I saw during 1980 when silver was up to $50 an ounce. I saw the buy prices on the teletype system at the time. They called it teletype for major dealers across the country. I think it was $4,200. You couldn't get $5,000 for your 100-ounce Engelhard bar, you know, or I don't know if JM was making them at the time. I think they were. 100-ounce Engelhard bars, you know, with silver at $50 an ounce. The dealers were paying $4,200. $800 or $80 an ounce discount, folks. And I don't care if you had a pretty bar that was shined up with maybe a couple diamonds in it. You'd have still got the same thing. So in a seller's market, in a bubble territory, premiums disappear when you get more sellers than buyers. That's every market. So remember that when you're buying this stuff. It's pretty now, but don't pay big premiums. And what's a big premium on silver? If you're paying more than $4 an ounce premium, and I think $4 is too much, but it's kind of what the market demands right now. There is somewhat shortage in certain products. If you're paying more than $4 an ounce premium retail for any silver products, you're paying too much, because there are products available for 4 or less. I like some of the memes out here too. Pretty cool. Some of them are really kind of funny. All right, now that the silver is out of stock, yeah, there's some always cute memes. But one of the things, again, that always troubles me is just to see guys just paying too much. If that's 100-ounce bars, that's a good deal right there. If you can buy 100-ounce bars, you should be able to buy 100-ounce bars for a spot plus $3 or less. That's what we're getting. We get some good prices on some 1-ounce rounds too. As pretty as that is, if it's over spot plus $3.75, I wouldn't buy it. Again, as pretty as it is, I'm sorry. Unless you just want one example. But really, don't get caught up in pretty. Trust me on this. Get caught up in buying a recognizable product, not recognizable by you or your friends, but recognizable in the industry at the cheapest premium you can buy it for. Let's take a look at yesterday's video. I love the name Going Gulp. It has really not much. It has a lot to do with gold and silver because, again, I'm a gold and silver dealer. I mean, and rare coins. If I get squeezed enough, I'll just go gulp. I'll just hate to do it. Hopefully, I've paid my employees enough that they can retire early as well. But going gulp, man, that was yesterday's show. I think I think the parasites and the predators out there are going to cause the producers, and the producers are small business people, and the producers are people that really produce for the economy. Small business people and the American worker. They're producers. We're producers. We're not predators. We're not parasites. We produce services. We produce goods. We're not like governments. We're not like bankers. Okay? They're parasitic predators, in my opinion, and politicians as well. But let's, again, I'm going off into yesterday's video. If you want to watch it, go ahead. Let's take a look at a couple comments. I skipped comments a few times, and listen, I got to apologize. And speaking of comments, there was a lady that came in, and I think it was a lady came in and bought some, $1927. She was in town from out of town, and I'd like to thank. I'm surprised at how many of you live out of town and that you've been coming down here and you make a special trip to come by to see me. I really appreciate it. And if I didn't get a chance to talk to you and chat a little bit, I am really sorry. But I can't tell you how good that makes me feel that some of the viewers that don't live in South Florida, when they are in South Florida, come by and see me. Thanks a lot, folks. I really appreciate that. I don't think you know how much I do. I've seen enough gold. Not much gets me excited in this business except my customers now. I like my people. NG, hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Done stacking for a while. Hey, nothing wrong with having too much, sir. Trust me, you will not regret that. The solution shut down. They are absolutely tree climber. Alex says, show us some bri. Oh, Alex, that's what one of my old girlfriends used to call me, bri. Shows us some cool coins you get in. I know, numismatic stuff. I'm really a good coin person. I mean, I know across the board. I'm across the board specialist in most rare coins, whether they're foreign, U.S. or whatever. I've got a good working knowledge of all kinds of stuff, including. But again, I've been doing this since 1977. My father's a coin dealer, so I've been in this business a long time. I'll get around to. I want to do a coin show. I want to do a political show. I've got these lots of aspirations, but limited time. And this show, believe it or not, takes up a good amount of time in the mornings. Hey, thanks for watching, Alex, and thank you, G. Nice to see you. Wilfred as well. And likewise, William, I appreciate that. Joshua Thompson. All right, if I remember, I'll take a look at that, Big Water. Thanks for commenting. Thank you, G, and Ameripride. Oh, I think Ameripride's the one that came in. Hey, thanks for coming in, and I hope you like your 1927 silver dollar. It was actually, I picked out the prettiest one that I had, like AU58, almost uncirculated, but not quite. Although some jerk out there would try to sell it as an uncirculated. Thanks for watching, America. How quiet the news is about Arizona. Yeah. I'm really not going to go into that unless I start a political show. But yeah, it's very quiet out there. Lots of problems, lots of issues. And again, what I've noticed in life, Thomas, is that we're manipulated from the day we're born. From the day, whether it's governments, whether it's markets, whether it's going to school, games we play, whatever it may be. We're manipulated from the day we're born, from our parents, you name it. And that includes, and the things that we participate in are manipulated often as well. I mean, even down to, this. So, all right, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Again, I didn't want to digress here too much. Hey, it's a great addiction to have. Any addiction that you have that builds up your net wealth is a great addiction, as long as you're not harming yourself and harming others. Maurice, thanks, man. I think you're right there. I think that one we will see. And this wouldn't surprise me, too, In the right environment, this just does not surprise me. And I think, I will see it in my lifetime for sure. The problem, if it happens too quickly, that means that a loaf of bread is going to be worth about $100. So we don't want to see that either, Maurice. R420 says, you're crazy riding motorcycle in South Florida. Hey, I've been very safe. I go when it's quiet and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Chris, looks like a customer, one of my employees just, sorry about that. I've got all these pop-ups happen. I got this brand new, I was using Safari before, which is eating up memory, and pages were going on and off. But I forgot to turn off the memo up there. I got a customer waiting for me. I don't know if it'll be epic. Is the decline of any empire epic really? Because we have to deal with it. We have to live in it. Not really, Celtic, but the dollar and the dollar is not going to. I don't think the dollar is going to die. They're just going to recreate it into a digital credit and force us all into a cashless society. And again, that's what we need to fight tooth and nail. Thanks for watching, Celtic. Hey, listen, I appreciate you watching as well. I tell it without the bullshit. You see, I don't even abbreviate BS. I say it like it is bullshit. I'm having to say pick up some platinum. What would be a fair premium for platinum coins and bars? I haven't looked for a while, but I think that you should be paying less than $100 per ounce for bars or coins if you can find the stuff out there. I'm really not sure what the platinum premium is at the moment. Very fluid, and we don't sell as much as we do in gold and silver, but I think it's an excellent buy, Silver Stormy. That's just my opinion. Guy, thanks for watching. You do have my knowledge because I give you a little piece every time you watch this video, guys. So again, trying to teach you how to fish instead of give you a fish. Thanks for watching, sir. And David, read HR 5404. We're going to get a gold back system appropriate time. Waiting for you know what? That's kind of interesting. I am going to actually click and copy and read that after the show. Thank you, Dave. Really appreciate it. Hey, for you new folks out here, please hit that subscribe button. If you like watching me. If you don't, absolutely don't hit it. And also that like button, even if you are subscribed. Kind of gives me an idea that you guys like or dislike. This is the same three guys, by the way. I'm only kidding. Yeah, like or dislike. Hey, if you don't like one of my shows, hit the dislike button. I mean, shit, I'm pretty open to all this stuff. I'm a free man. I believe in the First Amendment. So, oh, my buy local. Boy, it looks like I left up that little thing here. And let's see where I was going with that. Well, this is Brian Kuzmar. I'm a local dealer only, and located in South Florida here in Lauderdale by the Sea. So I don't do any online sales. And I recommend that you don't go online to buy gold and silver. If you can find a good local person, go ahead and do that. Even if you have to drive an hour or two to find them, keep that money local. If you can't keep it in your city, keep it in your county. If you can't keep it in your county, at least keep it in your state. Plus, one day you're going to want to sell this stuff, and you're going to want to find a good dealer. Right now, again, best deals out there in silver is anything less than $4 per ounce that you can find for a recognizable product. Same thing applies to gold. Anything you can find for less than $85 per ounce is the best deal out there. Bars, Krugerrands, maybe even Maples, Austrian Philharmonics. There's a lot of products. The premiums have come down quite a bit on gold. Premiums are still a bit stiff on silver. Stay away from 90% silver, by the way. Just absolutely crazy prices right now. Don't ask me why. It was my favorite deal for the last year as far as compared to other products, but now it is just stupid money. In fact, you can probably make more silver ounces or make money by and still keep the same amount of ounces in silver by trading your 90% for 999 100-ounce bars and some other stuff. I explained that in one of my videos. A lot of you know how that works. And I'll keep telling you if you can trade your silver and make extra money doing it. You know me. Where is my... oh, there I am, Commercial Rare Coins. And I'm going to flip my button here. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime at 954-493-8811 between the hours of 10 and 4, Mondays through Fridays. Happy to help you out with whatever you're buying or selling. And again, folks, remember, I don't deal out of state, so if you live out of state, unfortunately, I can't sell to you unless you actually physically come to my store. And if you got any questions, you live out of state, you got any questions or anything, please put them in comments. I do answer them. A little tough for me to answer questions in the middle of the day when I'm working with other customers. However, if you are in an emergency situation, you might get screwed in a deal or something really serious and it's all your money or a lot of your money, and I can probably help you out, let me know. I'm always open to helping people out. I hate to see anyone get screwed out there. And again, if it's not serious, put it in the comments. If you think, hey, Brian, is this product a good deal? I'll tell you if it's not. And most of the time I do it in my shows anyway, just by telling you what to stay away from, price points. But happy to help you if I can. Well, anyway, that's it. Let's see what happens. You folks have a wonderful day. And hey, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye now.